Good evening and welcome to KTN Friday Briefing Online, a different kind of briefing, but all the same, we have the latest news updates. My name is Betty Kialo. Energy Cabinet Secretary Davis Chirchir and former Kenya National Examination Council Chief Executive Officer Paul Wasanga pleaded their innocence over the Chicken Gate scandal. The two, who were summoned at the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, have called for a speedy and thorough probe into the scam to bring it to a reasonable conclusion.
It was the turn of the former Kenya National Examination Council CEO Paul Wasanga and Energy Cabinet Secretary Davis Chirchir to answer to allegations of fraud and corruption in the Chicken Gate scandal. First up at the EACC was Wasanga, who was grilled for hours before letting in the former IEEC officer. The two maintained their innocence over the Chicken Gate scam.
For NEC, since NEC started 1980, they have been with other institutions. They have also printed examinations, and when I took over as the CEO 2005, I found they were printing examinations for us.
Because my name could have been mentioned in name dropping, but if you have evidence to really prove, because you do know the law, if there is evidence from anywhere that can pin down whoever needs to be pinned down so that this country can move forward, that's what I'm encouraging. We cannot say because your brother was jailed and you live in the same house and you blah, 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 you are also guilty.
The Energy Cabinet Secretary, in fact, went ahead to dare anyone with evidence on the Chicken Gate scandal to present it to the Anti-Corruption Agency. Chirchir claims he has never been in contact with the directors of Smith & Usman, jailed recently in London over the scam.
To the extent that even an agent of Oyomra possibly accessed me, that is the evidence we are looking for. Tusaidiane tumalize hii changamoto so that we can move forward and stop occupying our headlines with things which are not helping this country.
Taking cognizance of the buzz created by the Chicken Gate scandal both locally and in the United Kingdom, the former NEC CEO denied demanding for kickbacks to award the United Kingdom-based printing firm tenders. Well,
all other printers were pre-qualified. We have 9 other printers which were pre-qualified, but the awarding of the tenders for Smith & Usman has been above board, where they have been, it's only that in the times when they have printed examinations, they have won the tender, and not that they were given free, they have won the tender.
The Anti-Corruption Agency is probing top former IEEC and NEC officials over the Chicken Gate scandal, a multi-million scandal dogged with confluence, fraud and bribery in awarding of tenders. Samogina, KTN.
Human rights activist Okia Omtata has told the High Court that by suing the Communications Authority of Kenya over the analog switch-off, he is defending the rights of all Kenyans. Omtata says the CA flouted key aspects of the Constitution on the right to information. During the mention of the petition today, the authority's lawyer argued that a similar case had already been presented in court by the Media Owners Association. But Omtata said the media owners' interest in court was very different from his. The case began even as a research firm Ipsos Kenya released a poll showing that 65% of Kenyans do not have set-top boxes to receive the digital signal.
The standoff between the Communication Authority of Kenya, or CA, and the Media Owners Association over the past few weeks has now drawn the attention of human rights activists. Friday morning at the Milimani Law Courts, activist Okia Omtata presents a petition to Justice Isaac Lenaola against the CA. Omtata accuses the authority of failing to consider viewers' interest in the switch-off. During the mention, the authority's lawyer pointed out that a similar case had already been presented in court by the Media Owners Association.
It is inconceivable that any party would start this litigation again in the High Court.
Even if I was to say, to restore the free-to-air services, that is analog. Suppose they don't want to.
I am coming as a consumer. The media are not talking about consumer. They're talking about their investments. They're talking about all this. But I'm looking at it from the point of view of the consumer.
The activist insists that there has been gross misconduct by the authority and Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i.
The Cabinet Secretary for Information, Mr. Matiang'i, and the entire board
of the Communications Authority of Kenya should be declared unsuitable for public office for having grossly violated the Constitution of Kenya.
Justice Lenaola has directed that the case be heard on Wednesday, the 25th of February, after Omtata has served the three media houses, Standard Group, Nation Media Group, and Royal Media Services with papers on the same. The Kenya local media fraternity have been off air for the better part of 7 days, with media owners accusing the Communication Authority of Kenya of forcing Kenya to become a pay TV country. They say Kenyans are being hoodwinked into buying pay TV boxes, imagining they will always watch TV for free. According to the latest Ipsos research, only 35%, that's 1.4 million TV viewers, have set-top boxes. 65%, that is about 2.6 million viewers, have no access to TV. 95% of the 1.4 million, that is about 1.33 million people, have pay TV set-top boxes. Only 5%, or 70,000, have free-to-air set-top boxes. Media owners have maintained that even the frequency allocation was severely biased. Of the 211 frequencies allocated, 120 went to the Chinese company Pang, that is 56%. The local media owners say that this is not good for national security. Only 21 frequencies were given to the consortium of the three media houses. As things stand now, pay TV companies are allowed to be taking content from free-to-air channels and not paying for it. They even advertise on it and switch off viewers when they don't pay.
Bomet Governor and Chairman of the Governor's Council, Isaac Ruto, has condemned the way the digital migration process is being carried out. Speaking at the Council of Governors' offices Thursday evening, Ruto asked the national government to step in to ensure the process is run smoothly. He suggested an extension of 3 to 4 months to allow media houses to comply with the process so as to prevent more loss of fans by media houses.
We have also told them that it's not our desire as the three media houses for Kenyans to be in television blackout. In many countries that have moved to digital, especially in the developed countries, there are only 3 countries in Africa which have moved to digital. This process has been about the people. It's been migration by the people who already bought analog television to digital, to watch television in the digital space. So the way it is done looking at the interest of the viewers, looking at the interest of the people. And we have not, in my view, as a member of the consortium of ADN and as also the chairman of the Media Owners Association, been done in a manner that it could have been done. And we believe that the government needs to come in at this time to really make sure that this process becomes a smooth process so that Kenyans can continue to watch television. We've asked the governor to support us in this process and help to ensure that this doesn't continue to be an acrimonious process, but a process that works for the interest of Kenyans.
It is in fact shocking that the Kenya government can dare allow a blackout, to the extent that right now we have no television, the popular television stations are now not on air. That is a shock to Kenyans, and it is indeed very callous. It is the wrong thing to do. We have to understand as Kenyans that we are a peaceful country because of the free media coverage we have received over the years. If indeed we had continued with the muzzling of the press, probably we could easily have gone the Libyan or Egyptian way or the Yemeni way. Those are the countries who tried to muzzle the press, have not moved forward. In fact, they have destroyed their countries. We are grateful that this country has a vibrant media. Sometimes the opposition gets carried away. they have nothing to say, or they keep quiet, and there is no one to give the alternative view. It is the press, it is the media that has continued to critique the Kenyan society. And I think it is important that we allow the media to operate. And also the question of digital migration, no one has refused digital migration, but the requisite opportunity should be awarded. And we've got to watch that at least we go back to monopoly in the media sector, and anybody operating behind the scenes and being able to control what is being transmitted to Kenyans is actually a threat to the stability of this society, and every right-thinking member of this society should oppose such a possibility. We should continue to allow free play. All the free players should be involved, should come and participate. But I don't think it is wise for us to move with too much gusto in one direction, as it seems to be happening at the moment. We are seeing it in the various sectors that there seems to be a soft spot for a very, 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 hurried move to the east, while a lot of us are not used to that. Why don't we generally relax and get all the players onto the scene?
Education Cabinet Secretary Professor Jacob Kaimenyi today released what he calls the final secondary school fee structure that is to be used by all public school heads in the country. Kaimenyi said that the new fees layout is as a result of extensive consultations with education stakeholders and implementation of reports on education. But the new fee structure is 31% higher than that recommended one by the Education Task Force last year. And Kaimenyi says he can explain why.
The Kilemi Mwiria Task Force report on secondary school fees that was submitted to President Uhuru Kenyatta in October last year recommended for a fee structure that stakeholders called manageable. But if what Education Cabinet Secretary Professor Jacob Kaimenyi announced today is anything to go by, then the new fee structure may not be as manageable as hoped.
Maximum costs of this school is going to be 22,244, while that of boarding schools will stand at 66,424. I hope that is very clear. And for special needs secondary schools, it will be 69,810.
Parents will, however, pay less of this amount after the government subsidy takes effect. The set figures by the CS have, however, surpassed the limit recommended by the Mwiria report by 31%.
So some of you might ask, why this increase of that 1%? It is because this increase takes cognizance of the fact that teacher redistribution, as mentioned earlier on, and employment, rationalization of non-teaching staff, as was mentioned earlier on, merger of uneconomical schools, and implementation of proposed subsidies are yet to be effected.
The new fees will see parents whose children are in day schools pay 9,374 shillings. Those in boarding schools may pay up to a maximum of 53,553, while those in special schools will pay an upper limit of 37,210 shillings. The CS ordered the said amounts to be paid in a 50-30-20 ratio throughout the year. He insisted that no student should be sent home for not clearing the full amount. He, however, gave a warning to school heads who may flout the new directive.
As to whether or not somebody has done something or violated a directive from the ministry, and recommend to TSC to take the appropriate disciplinary action.
The new structure that comes right in the middle of the school's calendar's first term did not consider the distinctions of national or county schools. Timothy Otieno, KTN.
Police in Voi have dismissed claims that a body found in the Tsavo National Park was that of missing ICC witness Meshach Yebei. Yebei's family has reportedly also dismissed speculation about the Tsavo body, saying they have no doubt the body of their kin was mistakenly buried by another family in January. Francis Ontomwa reports.
Chapter today opened after claims went viral that his body may be the one currently lying at the Moi District Hospital, Voi. A new development that no doubt complicates an already puzzling story and now sending his family into more confusion. At the Voi District Hospital, doctors say the much talked about body arrived on the 30th of December last year.
One family came claiming to come from Baringo. They were convinced that at 70% that the body belonged to their lost one. But they needed to confirm the 30%. The man talking to me was by the name Moses. I can't remember the other name. I still have the name, and he said he was the brother to the deceased.
But in stark contrast, there are scanty details from the police. The men in blue are choosing to play cards close to their chests as they distance themselves from the speculations.
We don't go with the rumors. Mimi nakuambia ile kitu iko. Hakuna identification yoyote, hakuna mtu yoyote amekuja mbele kukremu hizo miri.
This is Man-Eaters region within Tsavo National Park. Police retrieved the body of a man on the 30th of December. It is not clear exactly the spot where the body was retrieved, but one thing remains clear. The body has sparked a lot of speculations. Sources at the Voi District Hospital say ever since the body was brought to the facility, several people have come to view the body, and one family that trooped in January insists that the body is theirs. KTN, however, could not establish whether indeed this were Yebei's kin.
Hiyo ilikuwa ni mwili ya mwanaume ambaye ilikuwa haina nguo. Polisi waliarifiwa na wakafika huko, wakachukua hatua, wakabeba mwili wakaleta hapa Moi Referral District Hospital mortuary hapa Voi. Baadaye wakachukua vidole wakatuma Nairobi, wakasacurate hiyo mwili kwa ile media za polisi.
Yebei, a father of 3, disappeared on the 28th of December last year under unclear circumstances. He is said to have been a critical witness in ICC cases, and his disappearance without a trace raised eyebrows. A section of Yebei's family, however, have poured cold water on the Voi claims, instead insisting that their kin was buried as Yusuf Hussein in January this year. Francis Ontomwa, KTN, Voi, Taita Taveta County.
The High Court has suspended the constitutional clause establishing Constituency Development Fund for a period of 1 year. The 3-judge bench of Justice Isaac Lenaola, Mumbi Ngugi and David Majanja found that the CDF Act has been unlawfully operational and said Parliament should find a way to make amendments to the Act. In a quick rejoinder, National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi, speaking in Nakuru, has said Parliament will expedite the review of the Constituency Development Fund Act to align it with the 2010 Constitution.
People know what it is that CDF has done. Saizi tu, Mheshimiwa Macharia, si umesema iko pesa ya CDF. 1.9 million. Ya secretary, 1 million. CDF is not supposed to fight devolution. It does not fight devolution. It is possible to continue to operate the CDF model alongside devolution. All that is required is to align it with the various provisions in the Constitution.
Still in the courts, a 5-judge bench hearing a petition on the Security Laws Amendment Act has postponed its verdict on the fate of the act. The bench, led by Justice Isaac Lenaola, has pushed the ruling to Monday, citing insurmountable reasons. The Coalition for Reforms and Democracy had filed a petition challenging the legality and the constitutionality of the act. 8 clauses in the act were suspended by a High Court judge, Justice George Odunga, pending judgment on the case.
We decided to come to deliver a very short message. We are not ready with the judgment for reasons that we were unable to surmount. We shall be ready to deliver the judgment on Monday, the 23rd of February at 11 a.m. So we just need the weekend to fine-tune it, and we'll be ready on Monday, the 23rd.
The Court of Appeal in Nakuru has sentenced to death a young man found guilty of the 2008 post-election violence crimes. The court substituted a life sentence handed by the High Court in 2012. 26-year-old Peter Kipkemboi Ruto, alias Saitoti, this afternoon stood before the High Court, the Court of Appeal rather, in Nakuru, where he was sentenced to hang for the murder of Kamau Thiongo on January 1st, 2008. The appellate court ruled that Kipkemboi was rightfully convicted by the High Court. Prosecution witnesses who had earlier appeared before the High Court positively identified Kipkemboi as part of a group that had attacked Thiongo in his farm in Kamura, Timboroa, Uasin Gishu County. The appellate court noted that the attack, was premeditated, planned and executed by the raiders after the disputed elections in 2007, as noted by the trial court. Let's move on to some business news making headlines. Trade at the Nairobi Securities Exchange resumed as normal this morning after the Kenya Association of Stockbrokers and Investment Banks withdrew its earlier threat to suspend trading. The move follows a crisis meeting called by market regulator, the Capital Markets Authority, late Thursday evening, seeking to stamp its authority. According to a statement from CMA, acting CEO Paul Muthaure says that in the interest of maintaining the sanctity and stability of the capital markets, the Council of CACIB has further resolved that they shall not suspend trading services. Brokers had taken the step to suspend trading that had been termed as a nuclear option by market observers in protest over the implementation of the capital gains tax. CACIB last month moved to court seeking direction on the tax as it sought to absolve itself from any liability in implementing the tax. The Kenya Revenue Authority implemented the 5% capital gains tax in January that investors say could affect investment in equities, well, property and the country's nascent oil and mining sectors. The brokers are also upset by a requirement that they deduct capital gains tax on traded stocks on behalf of the state. The Kenya Bankers Association has hailed outgoing central bank governor Professor Njuguna Ndung'u as a transformative leader in the country's banking sector. Professor Ndung'u, whose 10-year tenure comes to an end on March 4th, has been instrumental in introducing initiatives geared towards industry development and promoting financial inclusion. Notable milestones during his term include the introduction of the agency banking model, integration with mobile banking, and the check truncation project, which has dramatically reduced clearing times from the highs of the 21 days to just 1 day. Professor Ndung'u is the 8th governor of CBK and becomes the first holder of the office to exit after serving 2 terms, having weathered strong headwinds that threatened his career at the agency. Longhorn Publishers has released its unaudited results for the 6 months ended 31st December 2014. The group's profitability stood at 39.9 million shillings compared to 30.1 million shillings in the same period the previous year. Representing a 32% growth, the group attributed the growth to lower distribution costs and operating cost management within the group for the period under the review, while the group revenue stood at 531 million shillings, down 5% from 558 million shillings attained in the same period the previous year. And finally, in business, the Cooperative Bank has increased its ATM withdrawal limits as part of the bank's strategy to respond to customer needs. Coop Bank customers can now withdraw a maximum of 40,000 shillings from the ATM, up from the current 20,000 shillings. Kenyan banks have been stepping up efforts to ease customer access. In an effort to reduce queuing, Coop becomes the first bank to raise its ATM withdrawal limits, with most banks still pegging transactions at 20,000 shillings. The bank has also waived the 50 shillings fee charged on school fees and rent payments, as well as the 20 shillings fee on deposits made at the bank. The bank aims to have up to 60% of bank transactions taking place at alternative channels and technology-driven platforms, including ATMs, mobile and internet banking, point-of-sale terminals and agents. Remember, you can tell your friends and family to catch this latest news updates on www.ktnkenya.tv. That's the URL that they can use to get all these latest news updates that come to you at 7, 8 and 9 o'clock. Right, let's move on to sporting action. And after conquering Nairobi Metropolitan Region last year, defending girls basketball champions Aria Parklands will give a shot at their national championships as they seek to extend their dominance in basketball in the country. Aria will place their title on the online during the Nairobi Region Championships that will be held this weekend.
2014 was a year to behold for Aria Parklands as the students emerged from the shadows of their long-time basketball foes, Buruburu Girls, to take the Nairobi crown. That feat came after falling on 4 different occasions. The ladies, who are now preparing for the Metropolitan Games, hope to repeat last year's feat.
Doing well in terms of preparations, although at the district level, we have started our games, but they are not very competitive. But we are soon playing the semi-finals, and after district finals, we now go to the count level where we can confirm how prepared we are for the games.
Despite falling to Shimba Hills in the national finals, the Parkland-based ladies are still a bit of making to the East African Championships this year.
Well, I think as the runners-up at the nationals, we want to go for the trophy this year. Last year, we lost in the finals of the nationals to Shimba Hills, but this time, we want to go for the trophy.
After clear out of a majority of the players, Coach Waloma hopes the inclusion of fresh players into the team will keep their momentum running as they eye national and regional glory.
For the sake of succession, I've tried to bring in some new players. I have 2 Form 2s in the team so that I don't have a big gap when the Form 3s leave.
Aria girls will step onto the court this weekend for the Nairobi Championship before next week's finals, where they expect to mount their challenge. Robinson Okenye, KTN Sports.
Curtains for the 2014-2015 Kenya Cup regular season will fall this Saturday, and I beg your pardon, and the stakes are high for teams fighting for the playoffs, with a cracker tie expected in Nakuru between title holders Top Fry Nakuru and table toppers KCB. Should the Lions win, then it will see them not only top the table but secure playoff hosting rights.
It has been 12 weeks of high-octane Kenya Cup rugby. And as matters stand, the top 4 teams have put in stellar performances and remain on course to make it for the playoffs. With 58 points, last year's runners-up KCB tops the log, having accumulated an impressive 10 bonus points. Defending champions Top Fry Nakuru are placed second a point shy the leaders. Pan-Africa Strathmore Leos and an impressive Kabras Sugar follows the leaders with 45 and 41 points respectively. Mwamba RFC is placed 5th and remain geared to improve their chances of returning to the playoffs for the first time since the 2012-2013 season. This weekend matches marks the end of the regular season. Black Blood plays Homeboys at 2 p.m. at the Impala Club before Mwamba RFC get into the action with a match against a struggling Mean Machine. Catholic Monks welcome Western Bulls at their backyard, while Kabras Sugar, who eyes for the playoff for the first time in their history, will have a slippery mountain to climb against Pan-African Strathmore Leos. Mombasa Sports Club take on Kenya Harlequins. The match of the weekend pits Top Fry Nakuru against KCB, who will be looking to post their first win at Nakuru Athletics Club since 2011. Moses Wahisi, KTN Sports.
Bubesi Pride Foundation, a team of volunteers assembled to carry out an annual rugby coaching expedition, have partnered with the Kenya Rugby Union to use the sport as a tool for education and development for young children in the country, with an aim of building an assured pool of young and rugby talent useful for the continuity of the existing rugby teams as well as the Kenya national team. The 2015 Young Talent Rugby Circuit kicked off on Thursday, 19th of February, and will continue to Saturday, March the 7th. The group targets 300 pupils from 5 Mathare-based primary schools aged between 8 to 12 years. The pupils will be exposed to rugby training and life skills lessons leading up to a grand tournament where the schools will compete against each other.
Former teacher myself of kids, it's obviously very interesting to see the kids playing. Last year I was out there with Mr. Otiti as well when they played at the KRU grounds. The joy and excitement of these children playing this particular sport is one that is priceless and one that we continue to support, and is one that I will continue on behalf of the union, continue supporting this particular program.
These kids are going to learn life skills. They're going to learn alternative opportunity. They will also learn key management activities that we're going to tell them. So we as G4S are proud today. We take it as a very, very unique and amazing day to be part of this journey.
Sports Cabinet Secretary Hassan Wario remained tight-lipped even as confusion continued to hang over the soccer scene in the country. The Kenya Premier League Limited went ahead to issue match schedules and list of referees despite FKF's warning to referees who accept to officiate in a match not sanctioned by the Federation. Sports Cabinet Secretary, who is attending a retreat in Mombasa, said he would not comment on the matter that has seen 2 sets of leagues being planned. KPL has scheduled 4 matches for tomorrow, 3 others for Sunday. Defending champions Gor Mahia welcomes Mathare United in their opener on Saturday. That clash will be the second to be played at the City Stadium after KCB versus Western Steamers that kicks off at 2 p.m. Former champions Ulinzi Stars will be home to Sony Shiga, while Thika United entertain Tusker in Thika. 3 more matches have been planned for Sunday. Sofapaka will be home to Ushuru in Machakos as Leopards, with a new coach Zavko Logarusic hope to start on a high. The Ericsson Globe Arena in Stockholm has clearly become Genzebe Dibaba's record-breaking ground. Dibaba cruised to a new world indoor 5,000-meter record last night, a year after setting a new record in the 3,000-meter world indoor record. Despite being helped by pacemakers in the first 2 kilometers, Dibaba was still capable of running the 3rd world indoor record of her career when she clocked a stunning 14 minutes 18.86 seconds for 20 laps of an indoor track. She took more than 5 seconds of the previous mark of 14 minutes 24.37 seconds set by her compatriot Messeret Defar on the same track in 2009. Compatriot Birtukan Fente finished a distant second in 15 minutes 22.56 seconds. And that's where we wind up this edition of KTN Friday Briefing Online. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, you can catch all of these updates on www.standardmedia.co.ke or www.ktnkenya.tv for those latest news updates at 7, 8 o'clock and 9 p.m. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Betty Kyalo. See you again soon.